start the car, no I would piss back. Oh God, look, my chins. Come on, babe, why don't we paint the town? Oh God, that's horrible. And all that jazz, I'm gonna rouge my knees and roll my stockings down. I look about 80 years old today. It's because of this foundation. So I bought this Superstay foundation. This guy. I don't know what colour it is. What colour are you? It's like the fairest one. Just like me, fairest of them all. It's so pale and it's real chalky as well. But I need to use it because I bought it now and it's like, I don't want to just like waste it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wear it for videos because then, I mean, I can't imagine this holding up very well for performances. Hello, I am Velma Kelly. Is it Velma or Velma Kelly? I am Velma or Velma Kelly. Thelma Kelly? Velma. Also, I'm wearing this dressing gown today, and it keeps opening, so if you see any of my nipple, I'm really sorry. But I thought it'd be real funny to do a video about like embarrassing things that have happened to me while I've been performing. I've performed as a dancer, as a singer, and then also, you know, in drag, like as a drag queen. And I just thought it'd be really funny to like tell you about my terrible stories because at the time they weren't so hilarious, but now that, you know, it's like a few years on, it's like pretty funny and it's a cool story to tell at dinner parties or if you have a YouTube channel, because that my tit nearly came out again. So my first story is about, so this was like when I very first started performing. So when I was like about 14 maybe, like I just got into it at school, and we did a number to Jesus Christ Superstar and it was just like a dance piece. I think it was for like Breeze Festival or something, which is like, you know, like a youth performing arts sort of festival in Leeds where I'm from. I was like in this lifting section. I was doing the lifting. Unfortunately, I was not the lifted. So anyway, I was like doing it and usually like I always used to get put with like the same partner, but she was on holiday. So I had to practice it with this other girl until she came back and like it was kind of touch and go, I think, as to whether or not she was going to be able to make it to the performance. On the night of, she actually like made it and I was like, all right, cool. So I'm doing it with her now. And then when I was on stage, I just completely forgot that she was there. And the girl who I'd been practicing with, she like ran off the stage, but she ran like, so like we're on like stage right, so like right at the front. And she ran off stage left, but she ran from stage right all the way to stage left. And I was like, what's going on? And I chased her across the stage. And then like the other girl who I was meant to be doing it with, she just sort of stood there like, so I like turned around and clocked her and then I like sprinted across. I told you it was to Jesus Christ Superstar, didn't I? So I like sprinted across. Jesus is doing a cartwheel all the while and I just crashed straight into cartwheeling Jesus. Took him out and then obviously ran over, but she'd already run off because she was like, oh, he's not coming. So then I was just kind of like ran into cartwheeling Jesus and I was like, all right, cool. And then like afterwards, my teacher, who like, I would say that I owe like quite a lot of like my performance, like life to her because she really got me into it when I was at school. I'm not going to like say a name because I don't want to like, is it called doxing when you like give somebody's information a bit too much? Have I done too much white on this highlighter as well? I feel like I might have just gone a bit too overboard today. Yeah, she was like, oh, it's all right. It wasn't really noticeable. And I was like, the main part literally was like cartwheeling across the stage and I ran into him at about 100 miles a fucking hour. I think it was pretty obvious, but she was like, no, it's fine. I was like, all right, well, thanks for trying to make me feel better, but I know how bad that looked. So another really embarrassing thing that happened. So I was working on a ship in America, like in their show team, doing like nightly shows. It was actually so fucking tiring as well. We had to do 2 shows a night every single night for like the length of the contract, which was about 9 months. It's surprising that I didn't die during that, to be fair. In that show, our opening number, there was like a part of it where we kind of like, I mean, if you dance and stuff, or like if you've done dance like at school and that, you'll know that like there's always like a part in like a lot of numbers where it's kind of like, right, it's time to like show off the dancers' tricks. I don't really have any tricks that like move across the stage, so my trick always used to be like, I'd just run in, do like a little tilt, you know, the blonde one from Pussycat Dolls, Kimberly Wyatt. It's the thing that she used to, you know, where she like grabs a leg and then like pulls it over, and you can like do it just as like a big kick as well sometimes. That was always my thing that I used to do, so I like ran over and did one of those. On the ship that I was on in America, it had like 2 poles either side. I don't know if they were like weight bearing, that's not really important to the story though. And basically like once I'd done that, I like carried on running, and then I'd like grabbed the pole and I sort of like jumped around it, so like my legs came into the audience. So one day we had like quite a few deaf passengers on the cruise. I think it was like an excursion for like a group, and so we had like a sign language lady at the front of the stage. So she was like stood at the front of the pole where I jump around, and she was like signing the lyrics to the song, and I jumped around that pole and I kicked her head, but not like as I did it. I saw like what were about to happen, but I was already like at speed like around the pole, so I couldn't have possibly like stopped myself. Like there was just no way that I could have done, even if like there were no way to do it. It wasn't that like I thought, oh no, I'm gonna like injure myself. I just couldn't have stopped myself, and I kicked her in the head at such speed, and her head like flew forward, and I remember like all the hair came like forward as well. I don't know why I'm laughing, because like at the time I was like, I've killed her. I was like, she's dead. Is she all right? What's going? Oh, it were awful. I really did poo myself. I think she was fine though, because she carried on like the rest of the show, like signing. So I think she was actually okay. I think she was just a bit like in shock more than anything. I don't know whether or not she sort of like moved forward as well to stop herself from like getting as like heavily kicked. But it was so bad. And I remember doing it and I thought like, it sounds really daft because like this can't really happen. But I was like, I've kicked her head off. I've kicked her head off of her shoulders. She hasn't got an head. Because the speed and like obviously the weight of me as well, like I'm a massive guy. Like I just thought she must be dead, or her head's come off. I still do feel pretty terrible about it. And also like how shit as well that like she's just there doing like something really lovely, like signing for people who like wouldn't usually be able to enjoy like the like lyric and like spoken parts of the performance, and I just kick her straight in the head. Oh, I felt terrible. Do you know when you kind of like have a lot of stories in your head and then you come to like tell them and then you're like, oh, I've forgotten them all now. That's kind of happening. So I was in this number where we had like all the lads wore like really big like sort of plumed harem pants, and they had like sequins all over, and like because of the way that they'd been made, they had like a lining, and the lining was like super baggy, so you could really easily sort of like get yourself caught up in it. And like in this show, our quick changes were about like, we had about 30 seconds to like do a complete outfit change, which sounds like a long time, but if you've ever done like a quick change, you'll know that like that's not a lot of time at all. So we'd like sort of set us like stuff out so that you could sort of like just step into it. But with these harem pants, because of like how they sort of were made and like the lining on them, you couldn't really sort of like lay them down very well. Sometimes you could get tangled. Anyway, one day I was like in the thing, like I was doing the quick change and I got tangled in the harem pants, and I was like, I could hear like my music coming, like, so it was time for me to go on, and I was just like, I ain't got these trousers on. And I thought, well, I can either like carry on trying to put them on or run out in my pants. So I was like, I didn't run out in my pants. Don't get too excited. So I was kind of like, oh shit. So I just thought, right, I'm just gonna have to keep persevering with them. And then, so like it carried on, and I was just like, right, I'll just figure out a good time to go on. But like as the music was going on, I was like, I ain't ever gonna get these on in time. Like it'll take me about 5 minutes to figure out what's going on. So I put on these other trousers that were like, they were still kind of like quite baggy, but they weren't harem trousers. And it was clear that I shouldn't have been wearing those. Like, they didn't match anybody else. And then and the trousers were so baggy at the top and they were falling down. And I like just ran on stage in them and like did my bit. But like, because they're so baggy, they were just falling down at the back. So you could see all my pants. Which luckily were white and the trousers themselves were white as well. So that was good. So at least there was that. But yeah, I kind of like just ended up flashing the entire audience. And then afterwards, you know, like, I mean, when you're panicking and like you're in the moment, you're kind of like, oh, it's not like, I just need to get on. But then like afterwards I was like, I didn't even really need to go on for that number in the end. Like, there wasn't anything that like really called for me to be on the stage like too urgently. Like, I could have just not done it and then like not made as much of a fool out of myself. But I am conscientious, if nothing else. So I made it onto that stage and I just flashed my ass for everybody to see. Somebody's shouting outside. Yeah, like on the ship I kind of felt that there was a lot more like rehearsal and stuff, and obviously like when you're doing drag and like you're preparing to perform like at a gig, like I do try and do some rehearsals, to be fair. Like I think I'm quite like professional in that sense, but I can't really afford the space all the time, and like there's only so much like preparation that you can really do in your front room and though without like annihilating the floor and the ceiling. Oh my god, the other day I was determined that I was going to do this number like on a chair, and I was like practicing it on, you know, like one of those foldy office chairs. And I did like a jump split off of the chair, and I jumped off of it in my living room, and the leg under the chair just like went boop, and the chair was just flat to the floor. Now it's completely broken, so needless to say I couldn't end up doing the chair number. But I'm glad that that kind of happened before I went on stage. I think it's probably more to do with the fact though that like, you know, I was jumping off of the chair, which is meant to be sat on. It's from Argos. So yeah, usually like the bad stuff that sort of happens to me whilst I'm on stage, it's kind of costume related. I bought these shoes. I bought them on Wish. Don't judge me. Like, I know obviously like Wish isn't fab, is it? Like, we all know that the quality's not brilliant. But I was like, well, I need these shoes. Like, and it's really hard to like source a pair of shoes in my size because I'm a UK 11, which I think is like an American like 13 or a 12. So like they're really hard to get, and like Wish, just for some reason they do like a lot of like quite pretty larger shoes. So anyway, I bought these like knee-high boots. You've probably seen them because I feel like a lot of people seem to have like these really cheap knee-high boots. They like have a red sole on the bottom because, you know, Louboutin. I was getting ready at my friend's house, and like before we even left for the place, I was like, these aren't right, like there's something happening with these. And basically like, because they had no zip up the side of the boot, it was really hard to get your foot in, so you had to like really pull it and push it. Like, it was very, like one time when I was trying to get these on, my mum literally had to like lay me on the bed and like ram the shoes onto my feet. Like, that's how difficult they are to get on and like how tight they are around the legs. And my legs aren't even really like that stocky, like my legs are quite thin, even if I do say so myself. We like got the taxi to the venue, and I was just like, when I got out of the taxi I was just like, the only way to describe the feeling was as if my toes were pointing up to the ceiling. So it was as if like, so I'm in like a shoe like this, and then it was as if like my foot was sort of in that shape. That's what it felt like. So I was like, all right, cool. So these are going to be impossible to do the performance in. But I didn't have any other shoes, so I just had to do it. To be fair, I think like I got through it quite well, and I didn't have any like specifically sort of very difficult choreo in that. So I was able to kind of just do like a few tricks, which like for me are usually on the floor, like there are like jump splits and stuff, and like, you know, like back like drops with the legs up and just stuff like that. So I was like, it's fine, I'll just sort of get through it. And I thought I'd gotten through it all right. And then afterwards, this girl came up to me and she was like, oh, well done for your performance. Like, it looked really difficult for you in those shoes. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. But inside I was like, fuck's sake. That Maybelline foundation, it's made everything so sticky. Another thing that, this is very recent as well, actually, like last week recent. So I had a performance with Diva Discotheque, which is like so I mean, I won't say company, but I don't know if that's the right word. It's like kind of like the collective that I sort of work with a lot in Leeds. It was a girl band night, so I did Pussycat Dolls, obviously, because like I truly, like in my heart of heart, I believe that I am Kimberly Wyatt. Before I was like due to go on, when I like wait around to go on stage, I just, cause like heels are like hard, aren't they? Like, you all know, don't you? Like they're hard, like they hurt. So I always like swing back on them, you know, like push my weight like right back on the heel. Anyway, so I'm like watching this performance, and I pushed like my weight back and the heel just came clean off, and I had no other shoes again, because like, why would I be prepared enough to bring some more shoes? I now bring like a new pair of shoes whenever I go and perform anywhere. You know, like a separate pair, like a spare pair. Luckily, like one of the queens was like, oh, you know, what shoe size are you? Like you could borrow mine. But like her shoes, I mean, if I'd have attempted to dance in those, I would have probably broken my neck. It was nice to like have the option, and obviously like I would have worn them. But then I'd have felt really bad as well, because like the way that I jump around the stage, like I'd have absolutely annihilated her shoes, and I'd have felt so bad. My partner was like, oh, we'll try and get you some super glue. So he went to the bar and asked, they had none. So then he's like running around Leeds City Centre, like on a Friday night in a belly top with like glitter all in his beard. Meanwhile, I'm at the bar, like, because they said to us at the bar, oh, when the manager comes back, they might have some. So he said to me, you know, go to the bar if I'm not back and check if the manager's back. So I went to the bar and I was like, by the way, this is at Hi-Fi Club. So shout out to the lovely people at Hi-Fi, because they like really like helped me out there. I mean, I don't know if like anybody from there will ever watch this video, but if you do, just know, I mean, I think that I portrayed to you how grateful I was, but also thank you so much, because it was like a very, very stressful time and you really did help, so thank you. I went to the bar and I was like, hi, is the manager back? No, they're not back. So then I was like, fuck. I'd been like trying to like smash the heel together, because like I could see that the little pins were still in it, smashing it back together. And I was just like, have you got a hammer back there? And they did. And then they said to me, oh, do you want to come back behind the bar? So I went behind the bar and I was like, where they, you know, where they do like the washing of the glasses and stuff. It was covered in water, and I had this hammer and I was just smashing the shit out of this shoe, getting the heel back on. The water on it was just jumping everywhere because I was like going for it so aggressively with this hammer. But I was like, I can't, like, what if this shoe just like completely falls to pieces while I'm on stage, and then I'm like having to go through the same thing as before where my toes like facing up and I'm on one foot with a flat, one foot in the heel. Oh, it'd been horrible. And the guy like who was in the like washing room, he was like, are you all right there? And I'm like, bang it, I'm like, I'm fine, I'm absolutely fine. Luckily it stayed together for the performance, and so my boyfriend like arrived back with some super glue as well, so that like really helped. And yeah, we're all okay. But after the performance, I saw the guy who had been like stood in the wash part with me whilst I was hammering it, and I was just like, well, it stayed on for it, didn't it? And you could tell you were like, oh, fucking hell. Yeah, so another quite like shit thing that's happened quite recently. In fact, I think it's on here and I think you can tell on the video, even though like the guy that I got to film it, he kind of like zoomed right in because I think he could tell that I was having a bad time. So recently I did a number for like a Kylie night, and I thought, oh, I know what I'll do. So I'd seen like this like older number where she had like the stripper trousers on and like a suit jacket, and she like whipped off the suit jacket, whipped off the stripper trousers, and she had like a showgirl outfit on underneath. So I bought these stripper trousers like in the large size that I could find, because, you know, obviously I'm a big boy. So on the night off, I like wore pads, and I'd been practicing like in these trousers without the pads on. So then when the pads were on, they were like skin tight with these trousers, they were like leggings. So I'm like trying to just like, you know, like just sashay around the stage like all nice and elegantly without my trousers opening, but like they were just opening, like they were cracking at the side. You could see all my white like costume underneath, and the trousers were black. So yeah, so So I was like, right, I'm just gonna have to whip them off. So I went to whip them off. But then like, because we'd put them together so tight, I couldn't then get them off. So then I was just like performing with like the pair of trousers like on one ankle, just like dragging around on the stage with me. And I kept like dipping down to try and get them, and it just wasn't happening. It was really, really stressful. But I don't think like, you always think, oh, like everybody's noticed, but I think like people usually don't. I mean, they might notice. I think my sister noticed on the video even. But like, people aren't as like harsh as you think they're going to be. Like, you're always your own harshest critique, aren't you? You would think like, because I do kind of, I mean, I hope that I come across as like quite a professional person and like performer, because like I do think that's very important. Like, I know like drag is fun, but like for me it's also about like, you know, performing at a high level for me. And like, I do really pride myself on being very professional. And when stuff like that happens, I'm just like, it just makes me feel so shit. I'm sat in a wide straddle today, because I always end up getting pins and needles, but it's really stretching my groin and it's not great. Do you like this like oil slick colour that I've put on my crease? I don't know if it's a bit too dark for a crease colour for me, but... Shit. I didn't even know that could do that. Have I broken it? Get up, get it up, won't let you so get your ass up, show me how you balance, do-do. Okay, girls, let's show them how it's done. So those are my embarrassing stories from when I have performed both in drag and out of drag. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. So as always, please like, subscribe, comment, share this video with your friends so that we can hopefully reach a larger audience and hopefully this channel can get bigger. And as always, my social media and things will be on at the end of the video. I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands. It's because I mean, it's very squeaky, this dress. Yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you all soon. Bye!